Hello and welcome to today's video on how to grow tilapia fish. In this tutorial, we will cover everything you need to know about starting your own tilapia farm, from choosing the right type of tilapia for your climate and water conditions, to feeding and caring for your fish, to harvesting and selling your tilapia. So let's get started. First and foremost, it's important to understand that tilapia is a tropical fish that requires warm water to thrive. If you live in a colder climate, you will need to invest in a heater or use a greenhouse to maintain the proper water temperature for your tilapia. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's move on to choosing the right type of tilapia for your farm. There are several different species of tilapia, but the most common and popular varieties for farming are Nile tilapia, blue tilapia, and Mozambique tilapia. Nile tilapia is a fast-growing and hardy fish that can tolerate a wide range of water conditions, making it a great choice for beginners. Blue tilapia is also a popular choice due to its ability to thrive in both freshwater and brackish water. Mozambique tilapia is a less common variety, but it is known for its excellent growth rate and ability to adapt to different water conditions. Once you've decided on the type of tilapia you want to grow, you'll need to set up your farm. This involves building or purchasing a tank or pond to house your fish, and ensuring that the water quality is optimal for the growth. Tilapia require a pH level of around 6.5–8.5, and a temperature of around 75 to 85 degrees Fahrenheit. You'll also need to make sure that you have a reliable source of clean water for your fish, as dirty or contaminated water can lead to disease and death. Now that your farm is set up and ready to go, it's time to start stocking it with tilapia fry. You can either purchase tilapia fry from a supplier, or you can breed your own tilapia by introducing both male and female fish to your farm. If you decide to breed your own tilapia, be sure to keep the male to female ratio at about 1:10, as too many males can lead to aggression and territorial behavior. Once your tilapia fry are growing and thriving, it's important to provide them with a balanced and nutritious diet. Tilapia are omnivorous, so they will eat both plant-based and animal-based feed. Now, let's get into the specifics of feeding tilapia. The first thing to consider is the type of tilapia you are raising. Different types of tilapia have different nutritional requirements, so it's important to choose a feed that is specifically formulated for the type of tilapia you are raising. Next, you'll want to consider the size and age of your tilapia. Younger tilapia will have different nutritional needs than older tilapia, so it's important to choose a feed that is appropriate for their age and size. There are several types of feed available for tilapia, including pellet, crumble, and liquid feed. Pellet feed is a popular choice because it is easy to store and measure, but it can be more expensive than other types of feed. Crumble feed is a good alternative to pellet feed and is easier for young tilapia to digest. Liquid feed can be a good choice for tilapia that are raised in tanks or ponds, but it can be harder to measure and store. It's important to remember that tilapia should be fed a balanced diet that includes a mix of proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. The specific ratios of these nutrients will depend on the type and size of your tilapia, as well as their environment and growth stage. In general, tilapia should be fed a diet that is high in protein, with at least 35% of the diet coming from protein sources. Good sources of protein for tilapia include fish meal, soybean meal, and grain-based feed. Carbohydrates are also an important part of a tilapia's diet, and should make up at least 20% of the diet. Good sources of carbohydrates include corn, wheat, and rice. Fats are also important for tilapia, and should make up at least 10% of the diet. Good sources of fat for tilapia include fish oil and vegetable oil. It's also important to consider any additional nutrients that your tilapia may need. For example, tilapia may require additional vitamins and minerals depending on their environment and growth stage. Some common supplements for tilapia include vitamin C, calcium, and phosphorus. Now that we've covered the basics of feeding tilapia, let's talk about how to actually feed them. The frequency and amount of feed that you give your tilapia will depend on their size, age, and growth stage. In general, Tilapia should be fed several times a day, with the amount of feed increasing as they grow. It's important to monitor the feeding habits of your tilapia and adjust the amount of feed accordingly. One easy way to determine how much to feed your tilapia is to use the feed and grow method. This involves monitoring the growth rate of your tilapia and adjusting the amount of feed accordingly. For example, if you notice that your tilapia are growing faster than expected, you may want to increase the amount of feed you give them. On the other hand, if your tilapia are not growing as quickly as expected, you may want to decrease the amount of feed you give them. As your tilapia grow, you'll need to keep an eye out for any potential health issues. Some common issues to watch for include parasites, fungal infections, and respiratory problems. If you notice any signs of illness in your tilapia, it's important to isolate the affected fish and seek treatment as soon as possible to prevent the spread of disease. Once your tilapia have reached the desired size, it's time to harvest them. There are a few different methods for harvesting tilapia, including netting them out of the tank or pond and using a handheld harvester. Be sure to handle your tilapia gently and carefully during the harvesting process to prevent damage to the fish. Finally, it's time to sell your tilapia. Now that you have successfully grown your tilapia, it's time to start thinking about how to sell them. Here are a few tips to help you get started. Determine your target market. Who are you selling to? Are you targeting restaurants, supermarkets, or individual consumers? Knowing your target market will help you decide where and how to sell your tilapia. Set a price. Determine how much you want to sell your tilapia for. Take into account your costs of production, as well as the current market price for tilapia. Promote your product. Use social media, local advertisements, and word of mouth to get the word out about your tilapia. Consider setting up a website or online store to make it easy for customers to purchase your fish. Find a distributor. If you don't want to sell your tilapia directly to customers, consider finding a distributor to sell your fish for you. They will handle the marketing and sales, and you will receive a percentage of the profits. Be flexible. The market for tilapia can change, so be prepared to adjust your selling strategy as needed. For example, if the demand for tilapia decreases, consider lowering your prices to make your product more attractive to buyers. We hope these tips have helped you learn how to sell tilapia fish after growing them. Good luck with your tilapia farming business. Thanks for watching.